What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Damian Talks Education. So listen up. I am here to talk about all things education on my podcast. So get prepared for some realness and honesty of education as I walk you down through various of topics that's happening in the education world with some amazing guests, to sharing stories relating to education and so much more, because I got you covered with education. So join me on this journey of education with me. Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. So let me explain. First off, it's free. I'm not joking, you guys. The Anchor app, it is free to use. Second, there's creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now that's awesome, isn't it? Third, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, you guys, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so many more platforms. Fourth, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum relationship. Now, is that awesome, you guys, or what? That's just terrific. And finally, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So I have another podcast with Anchor, and I'm just loving Anchor so much. I love it. It's so very easy to use, guys. So why don't you download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome, everyone, back to another live episode of Damian Talks Education. This is my second guest of the new year that I have on. So let me tell you guys all about this amazing person right here, and we are both excited to chat with him. Out of the way, he is a member of the North Carolina EDOP, a highway program, which he will explain. He is also a member of Profound Gentlemen, you guys, and he teaches third grade at a virtual academic and so much more, you guys. So everyone, please welcome on to Damian Talks Education, Mr. Jaquez D. Taylor. So let's bring him on now.
Greetings, everyone. It is a great day to be an educator. And Damian, I am so excited to join you on your second episode of the year. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, watching. One of my friends I see is on Dakiva. My PG leader is on Derek. Thank you. Another guest just joined. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm excited. Again, my name is Jaquez Taylor. I am a native of Thomasville, North Carolina, but currently living in Dallas, Texas, teaching third grade at a virtual academy. There is a story behind me teaching at a virtual academy. I started at a in-person school here in Dallas, but I quickly knew that that job was not for me, so I contacted a superintendent that I know personally and work in that district. I am a graduate of North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride, if there's any Aggies on. I am so grateful for my institution of higher learning. I am a 2017 City Year AmeriCorps alum of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I spent the year there, learned a lot about myself and about education, especially in the urban school district. Learned a lot. I am a proud member of Profound Gentlemen in Charlotte, which is a awesome, phenomenal organization to be a part of if you are a male that is entering in education or in education. I encourage anyone to join that safe space. I'm not sure what the membership is, but there is a fee. I have been a part of Profound Gentlemen for almost 2 years now, and I'm proud of it. I am a member of the North Carolina Education Association, been a part of that for about 5 years. I recently became a part of the North Carolina Adopt a Highway in North Carolina. So I adopted a street in my community, which they actually took my signs down when I moved to Dallas because I didn't have anyone to keep up with the street. So you have to have someone to keep up. So my name was literally on 2 signs in my community, and I was so humbly grateful for that. My Nana is on. Hey, Nana. So I'm humbly grateful for that. I have a tutoring business in North Carolina. I partner with 2 great school districts, one of North Carolina's largest school district, Gifford County Schools, and a small district, Thomasville, which is where I went to school at. So I deeply have a profound respect for urban schools and urban school districts. My ultimate goal is to become an urban school district superintendent one day, leading in this country. I also recently just gained a certificate from Harvard University in family engagement and education. I'm very proud of that. It was a 6-week course. I'm not sure how in the heck I completed that while managing to be a graduate student at American University. I am pursuing my master's in education, leadership, and policy at American. So I'm getting ready to gear up for my 2nd semester here in a few weeks. So I'm so excited about finishing this program and seeing what is next.
Yes, yes. So I want to ask you this here, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that to finally have you on. So what inspired you to want to be an educator in the first place? Did it quite run in your family? Someone inspire you to be an educator? I just want to know what inspired you to want to go into this field in the first place.
Well, my family is definitely not a family of educators. They're like nurses, people in the medical field, basically. I have one aunt who's in government, but I think I'm the only one who stuck, like, went outside their family realm of becoming an educator. I think my brother, he's going to become a physical education teacher. That's what he's in school for. But what inspired me, I've always wanted to teach. I played school up into 7th grade, and I think one of my friends that is online can attest to that. I played up into 7th grade, and I'm quite embarrassed to say that. Um, but I also used to try to persuade my friends to try to go into education while we were in school. Try to, we need more teachers. We need more teachers. But I often found myself pressuring them. You
Yeah,
need to be a teacher. You need to be a teacher. You need to be a teacher. But granted, teachers don't make a lot of money, and of course,
right.
that's what their fallback was on. But they always knew that I would become an educator. But nevertheless, I never saw any Black male educators in my school. Like when I was in elementary, granted, I'm an elementary school teacher. There's not a lot of elementary Black male teachers in elementary. So it was deeply personal for me. I saw one Black male teacher in my elementary, but he was the assistant teacher. So he wasn't the lead teacher. So that inspired me to, like, you need to go and be a Black male educator, set the tone, set the narrative in, the elementary school. And I'm
Correct.
quite respected, in my school. I'm the only male on my leadership, only male on my school, my grade level team. So you should see how I feel during meetings. I'm like, what in the world? So like I try to be standoffish, but they push me. Like I'm on the
Mm-hmm.
school leadership team as a 1st-year teacher. Like I'm doing things, you know, because I'm the only male. But I do keep in contact with that 2nd grade assistant teacher, which he's now a teacher in Charlotte. And I still keep in contact with him. So yeah, that's what inspired me, because there's little to no Black males in um, elementary education. And granted, this year has changed me. I want to actually pursue secondary education,
Okay.
either history or English. So pray for me, and all of you all that are on. Please continue to pray for me, because this 1st
Yes.
year of teaching has not been easy. But thank God for Jesus.
Yes, yes, yes. So I want to add you this here. A lot, everything in education totally had changed once we got hit it with the pandemic. We started with virtual and distant learning. So how is that? going on in your district, and how are they doing it? Are they one in person, or how's it going out for you, and how are you liking it?
So I'm going to say this to everyone, and yes, my secret is out now. I am currently um, living in Dallas, but I work in North Carolina as a North Carolina teacher in Gifford County Schools. So my district have two virtual academies, and we have over 2,000 plus students in our virtual academy, and it's just like a revolving door. Like I have two new students that I just got an email about, and before I was logging on with y'all, I was checking. I'm like, gosh, this is the second quarter of the school year, and I'm already getting new students. But I had to remember, in order for me to get new students, I have to have a job. So it's no
Yes.
matter what, if it's a revolving door. But nevertheless, my school district is doing face to face, and then we're doing the remote learning. So it's
Okay.
all about the parents, and
Yeah.
what the Board of Education decides. It's whatever best fits that family. So if my child has asthma or a condition, then I'm not going to send my child to school. I'm going to send them
Hmm.
to the virtual academy, which my principal just stated in our leadership meeting last week, or before we went out for Christmas break, that our school will become a magnet school at the end of this year. So we will have the option as teachers and school leaders to say, hey, go to the parents, say, hey, this school is not the best fit for your child, because remote learning, and we all know in this pandemic, is not um, it's not it's not for everyone. It's really
Right.
not for everyone. It's not for me as a teacher. Like, I would not want to teach virtually next year, because for one, I'm ignorant to technology. Like, I was over here struggling. I said, let me update my Instagram. So being that I'm a millennial and I'm at the end of the millennium spectrum, um I am so ignorant when it comes to technology. So virtual learning and virtual teaching has been a challenge for me. And granted, I started out at a charter school. We're not going to name drop the charter school organization. However, charter schools is not a best fit for me as a Black male. And I say that personally. And I'm speaking from my experience. They work you like corporate. And I worked in corporate setting before, and I knew at 21 and 22 that corporate was not for me. And maybe when I get older and retired and go into a different profession. However, no, corporate, and I don't think schools should be ran as a business. But,
Hmm.
most superintendents, most school principals, they lead their school as a business. I don't believe in that model or framework. So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, when I heard the news about that where I am at a community college. One day I was, in class in the classroom, and then the next we got hit with the pandemic, and then we just started doing it from home, doing it online, and I was like, I how are we going to do this? Because with me, I like being inside the classroom, being face to face with my teachers and interacting with them, and also with my classmates. And now doing it virtual, like how when we first started out, like how we're going to do this, because this is all new to all of us, and hopefully this pandemic will be all over with and we can finally get back into the classroom. And I want to ask you this here: once this is over with, do you think we will still be using this into our classroom, virtual and distance learning? Do you think that?
I Sorry. Honestly, I don't think that we are, just the way that our country is, and I'm speaking from my experience here. Um, America is not ready to fully engage children in learning virtually. I see that daily. I feel like I'm doing my students a disservice. It's just like I'm babysitting, and it's just like
Mm,
I'm trying to teach my students. I have 27 students, 29 students now. They had added to my class. I have 29 students, and I'm trying to teach them how to advocate for themselves, how
mm-hmm,
to think for themselves, because I have some students, parents that are, in the next room working. Some of my students parents work in the district, that I work in. Some of my students parents work, fast food restaurants, so they're home left alone, and that's sad to say. But
Yeah.
China, Finland, Dubai, other countries are so far ahead of us because they have been teaching their students online so far. So I do not see America continuing this virtual learning. Now, granted, there may be some school districts in the country that may continue to use this model and this framework, but I personally do not see that. I believe that all students should be in person, but due to the pandemic and this COVID, it's very serious, and I take
Yes.
children health very seriously, and I take my health very seriously. So I'm very thankful for my principal and my school superintendent for allowing me to still be here in Dallas, living, and still working as a North Carolina teacher. So I'm very appreciative. But as far as seeing this continued virtual learning, absolutely not. I don't see it happening at all.
Yes, and speaking of, we're all focusing on our students' well-being during this time, during this pandemic. So I want to ask you, what's one tip of how we can make this world an even better place for our children to live? Because right now we have many things that's going on in the world, and then you have students who are homeless or on the streets, don't even have a home. So how can we make this world a safe and better environment for our children to live in, so they can feel safe and they know that we love them and we are here for them every step of the way?
One, it starts at the community level. So it starts with your city council, and it goes up. So city council, I'm speaking from my experience. Anything, when I do anything and speak to anybody or give advice, I speak from my perspective, I speak from my experience, I speak from my wisdom that I have this far. But from my community, what I would say, and this could matriculate to other communities as well, um, you have to invest in children
Mm-hmm.
in order for us to close any type of a gap. I don't care if it's academic, um, parent, less parent. I don't know what to call that, but you have to invest money, dollars, into children. So finding resources, finding things for them to keep engaged. Like my community in Thomasville, there's nothing for the youth to do. They're fighting, they're going out stealing, they're doing things that they know that they're not supposed to be doing. So I think that it starts at the community level, and then it goes to the state level, finding funding, where we can pour into these communities that are less fortunate. Well, yeah, less fortunate, because Thomasville, we don't invest our money into our children. So I'm not going to get too deep into that because I'll get frustrated and start saying some words on here. I know this is live and we have people on here, and I'm going to keep it professional.
Correct.
But I think it starts at the community level when you want to invest in children, in anything. And I speak for academics. In order to close the achievement gap, we have to first ensure that it doesn't exist in the first place by
Mm-hmm.
working with children and families before they even get to school, before they leave school. We have to invest. Most people don't know what the achievement gap is. They don't know. They just doing anything.
Yeah.
And I had a parent reach out to me who was a friend who sent a child to a neighboring school in Thomasville. Um, well, not Thomasville, Davidson County. I'm just going to put the county out there. I don't care. Her child got suspended. And this is going off topic, but parents reach out to me. I'm 25, and parents that are 40, have 40, 50-year-olds, they're reaching out to me like, hey, can you give me advice? So I gave her advice on what she should do with the incident. Her child got suspended, never had any discipline issues, but granted, her child is a mixed child,
Mm-hmm.
mixed with white and black. And they suspended him for snatching the ball, and a white student fell on the ground. The school district that he goes to is feeding into the school to prison pipeline. And I don't believe in sending our black and brown boys and even our mixed boys down that path, because I was targeted when I was in school. And I'm not going to get into that because that's another subject for another day. We can discuss school to prison pipeline all day long. But yeah, that's that. Yeah. that is that. That is
Yeah.
that. So
Yes.
I could go on and on about achievement gap, school to prison pipeline all day long. Yeah, yeah. My goal is to write my dissertation centered around Black and brown boys. So stay tuned with that. So let's finish this master's degree and then we can talk about that.
All right. So here's my next, and I ask everyone this who I interview on my podcast, and a lot, like I mentioned earlier, a lot is going on around in the world. So, if you could do anything to improve our education system, what would you possibly do? And for one, for me, is that 2% of the African American teachers. That's like, so we need more of us into this field. And then also you have is I've been hearing a lot, I've been seeing on social media about defunding standardized testing. So what would you do to fix our education system?
I think that was a two-part question, maybe two or three-part question. So I may go out of order or whatever. Just reel me back in. And I actually typed this out when you sent me the question so I could stay veered in. So if you see me looking over, I'm reading my thoughts because I'm telling y'all I could go left when we need to be going right. But yes, so I'm thinking your question is what would I do to improve the education system? So
Yes.
I would have worded that question, what would I do if I was a school superintendent or the secretary of ed? So that's just my guess. Or a school leader. It doesn't matter. But being that I'm an elementary school teacher, I would certainly improve the grading scale for elementary school students and secondary students. So K-12, especially during this pandemic, the education leaders, in my personal opinion, have not thought about how we could improve the grading system, especially at the elementary level. I'm speaking from my experience now, K-5.
Okay.
And I'm reading, y'all. I can't count on how many hands I have had parents text me, call me, like, hey, Mr. Taylor, what is my child's grade? Now, granted, back up, back. Now, if we were not in a pandemic, you would not be contacting me 24/7. Okay, you would not be contacting me 5 days a week. Hey, what is my child's grade? Like, I had to really calm my parent down this afternoon. Like, hey, your child is not failing. I'm not here to fail your child. I can't really see how your child is learning because I have some parents that are doing the work for their child. Like I had a student today, I had told him to turn his camera off because he was in the truck with his daddy. His daddy drives trucks. And I was like, friend, turn your camera off. I understand. I'm a very understanding teacher. Like I don't want to ever be considered a Ben. That's the I call Ben all white male teachers, and I don't want to be ever associated with a Karen because I was centered around Karens coming up in my school district that I went to, and my friends that are on can attest to that. You know, they didn't, they didn't give us opportunity like that. I have my best friend is on. She went to Howard University. She was robbed from taking honors classes in middle school, but they didn't see that until she got to high school. And personally, I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, but yeah, but that's that. But now, like I said, parents will, be contacting me about students' grades. So I have been challenged by my professional mentor, who is Dr. June Atkinson, who is the former North Carolina State Superintendent. She challenged me maybe 2-3 years ago before I graduated from A&T about how I could come up with a system that would best reflect the grading system for K-12. And so I'm still like researching that. I don't know when I'm going to get time to like come up with this system. So if there's any educators that are on and you want to collaborate on this project, please reach out to me, contact me. My number is all over the internet, so I don't mind giving out my number. People don't play on my phone, thank God for that. But she has pushed me and challenged me to come up with a system, like a grading system for our students. So I have been researching Finland. So if anybody knows about Finland, Finland is one of the wealthiest, knowledgeable countries right now that is leading in education. So I'm going to break down their grading system. So their grading system, in my opinion, is very rigorous and it's attainable to be used in American public schools. it is challenging for students to be quote unquote excellent. So we try to throw that word around, excellent. You know, me personally, I don't think that students in America, and we probably have some parents on, their child is not really excellent. Tell me tell me 5 reasons why your child is considered to be excellent. Now you may say, "Oh, he's bright, he's that." Okay, yes, get that. I get that. I have little cousins that I treat like my children, and I think they are the most excellent children. Which they are. They act up around their parents, but not around me. Which excellent on their grading scale is considered to be a 5. So they do a 5 through 1 grading scale. Here in America, we do A through F. Which 4 is considered to be very good with few errors. 3 is good with some errors. 2 being satisfactory with many errors, and 1 being sufficient. This is the minimum passing grade. So, but back to what I was saying about the grading scale in Finland. I think that, not North Carolina, the United States could benefit from a new grading scale, because it's always like, oh, we got to get here. I've seen in numerous account where, and come senior year of high school, where, you may be in the running for valedictorian, but I'm just a tad bit off. You could be number 1. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, we both. So that's why I think like we should eliminate the ABC model of grading. And also grading can be very biased. And I'm not to say that I would do this to any child, because I wouldn't dare want any teacher to do me like this, which I had a teacher do me like this in high school. Matter of fact, it was a damn history teacher that did me like this. Now that I think about it, excuse my language, but I just got frustrated. Because it still bothers me to this day, because I'm like, I don't even know if my grade was changed in Power School, which that's what we use in North Carolina, is Power School. He marked it on my paper, like he was like, "Oh, I'll change it." I was like, "I turned this in, but you're going to see the period now. I got to go home and deal with my mama. My mama, a black woman. My mama is crazy. No, but I love my mom to life." But grading can be very biased, just like teacher evaluation can be very biased. If my boss doesn't like me, then she's gonna, mark me for everything that she can mark me for, or nitpick with me, So I think that's the same when it comes to grading. So yeah, that's just that. I would definitely try to change the grading system. So hopefully when I run for state superintendent of North Carolina Public Schools, and hopefully my professional mentor will still be alive, and I'm praying that she is living a long life, that she is living retired, Dr. June Atkinson. Shout out to her. For preparing me in all things professional, will help me. It is time consuming, and being that I'm in education now, it is very, very time consuming, and it is not what I expected. Going into the schools, as a business leader in my community, going in with my tutoring business, it's totally different when you are the teacher. So yes, and I see Dr. Jackson is on. Thank you. Yes, that is so true. We definitely help with addressing bias. I believe that. So I have to take note of that.
Yes. So I want to ask you this here, since I am a future Black male educator, and most of my listeners are. What advice would you give to me, and also to my listeners, and to everyone out there into the world, and also to Black men who want to pursue a career in education but do not quite know the right path to go down on? So what's your advice to us?
That is a great question. My advice to any aspiring educator, I don't care if you're Black, male, Hispanic, Latino, female, my advice to you is to truly spend some time learning the profession. I'm going to say that again. I say truly spend some time learning the profession. Job shadow someone. Get an educational mentor. So get a professional mentor. Shadow that, teacher, who that you want to become an educator. So shadow someone that you see yourself being, but also be better than them. I have 3 mentors and they all serve different purposes in my life. I have a professional mentor who was the former state superintendent of North Carolina Public Schools. I hope to be, you know, North Carolina next state superintendent of public instruction. So get somebody to mentor you that you want to be in their position one day, or hold the position that they have held. My educational mentor, Dr. Sabrina Mutawali, who is an assistant principal. I've known her since my freshman year in high school. She was my PE teacher. Now she has her PhD. Like, I remember when she started her PhD program. Mr. Kevin Leak, who is a middle school principal, who I call and consider my dad. He's a principal. He's an ordained minister. Like, I don't ever want to be an ordained minister. I love God, but I don't think he's called me to that. But I don't want to be that. But I do want to become a principal one day, someday. I don't know when, because my master's program has, changed my perspective of being in leadership. So I want to work in policy because we don't have a lot of Black people working in policy. So yeah, that's my advice. And remember, mentors are real life cheat sheets. I call my mentors for everything. People say, "Hey, you have Dr. June Atkinson number. You are so blessed." I absolutely have her number. Her and her husband sent me a Christmas card for Christmas. I sent her gift cards. Because she's pouring into me a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge that I can take and grow with. At 25, and I've only been in education, I say 6 years, but really 1 year as a first year teacher. And lastly, I would say, go ahead and start developing a teaching philosophy. I developed my teaching philosophy when I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and worked in Tulsa Public School. So I say your teaching philosophy will change. Mine has changed over time as you learn and grow, and that is okay. So I say develop a teaching philosophy, and it will equip you and prepare you for your classroom. So that's my tip on that, and I would love to become anyone's mentor. I actually do have a mentee. He just actually graduated from A&T. I see my Aunt Vonda is on, future Secretary of Ed. Yes, we just fired one. She should have been gone 3 years and 52 weeks ago, okay? But she's gone. Thank the heavens for Jesus, okay? Thank you.
Yes. So yes. So let's get into that, because I was looking at that news this morning that she had resigned. So what do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Lord, bridle my tongue as I speak. Lord, I ask you to guide me in 2021. So you asked me what I think about Betsy DeVos.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this about the Trump administration. And if you're a Trump supporter, I'm so sorry to anybody that's watching, but I'm really not sorry. But nevertheless, the whole ordeal of him becoming president and her becoming the Secretary of Education, who gives a flying about public education, it's just very baffling to me, because I'm trying to be cool here. I'm trying to be cool.
You're fine.
I know damn well that I'm qualified for the Secretary of Education position if she led the department for 3 years and have ran it in the ground. Now I know I'm more qualified than her. I am qualified to do that, to do the job. And she bought her way into the Department of Education. She really bought her way. She paid her way. It was either her or Michelle Rhee, and I'm really not a fan of Michelle Rhee, who was the first nominee for Trump's cabinet in 2016 for Secretary of Ed, but she quickly turned that down because if you know Michelle Rhee, she tore up Washington, D.C. public schools. She fired principals on camera, okay? You have to literally, I learned about her my freshman year in college, and she is the devil, okay? A real life devil. And I hate to call people out their names, but hey, it is what it is. They call me, names, but I don't give a rat's butt, what people call me. But yeah, Betsy DeVos, the whole DeVos family can just take their raggedy asses back to Florida and just tan. That's all they need to do. Okay, they need to go tan. That's that.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
and so my aunt said that her account is still open, but Trump's isn't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Deactivated, suspended. Goodbye. Deuces. But yes, I
Well,
believe in being real and open and transparent when I speak. So if a cuss word come out, please excuse me. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
yes. So, let's shift gear now into talking about race in America, where 2020 was the worst year for all of us. We got hit with the pandemic, then we had the protests, the Black Lives Matter movement. We saw the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many more others. So and people are now starting to have these uncomfortable conversations with their friends right after all this stuff had happened. So what I want to ask you this here: have you been having these conversations with your friends, and also having them in your school with your students?
Um, so having those conversations with my friends, yes, and their conversation of frustration, conversation of shock and disbelief, because we never thought we would live through such a time as we did, this past year. Um, and I hate to say this, but it's true. I try not to um, go out and protest because I know me. Um, I protest with anger. Just because thinking back on like my ancestors, thinking back on how I'm a history major. My minor
Mm-hmm.
is in African American studies, so all of the things I learned in my last 2 years at A&T, it's just like so true. Like we have been done so wrong in this country, and then we have to, as Black people, have to come back in and clean the mess up. Like that crap that
Right.
happened on Wednesday. You think that my people gonna go up there and clean up that mess that those fools and hooligans done? Oh heck to the no. We ain't cleaning up nothing. It's time out for Black people to stop defending these Black people who write us off, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I'm applying for a director position at a private school here in Dallas. So I need everyone to touch and agree with me. After this, at the end of this month, I'm literally getting off social media so I can like really pray and fast about this position. But each day, like I'll go out and drive by this school, like, and pray, like, Lord, give me the discernment. And I felt uncomfortable one day. I pulled in the school, parking lot, and I'm like, Lord, all of
Mm-hmm.
these people, and I'm the only Black person rolling through here. I felt out of place. But you know what? They need someone that's going to come in there and shake up some stuff. Now I'm not going to say I'm going
Right.
to go in there and be disrespectful, but no, give them a different perspective. Like I met a couple here at my apartment complex. The husband or the boyfriend is a lawyer, and the wife or the girlfriend is a teacher. She teaches at a private school, and we had sat out and drank some wine by the fire pit one night, and she was like, my school could really benefit from a Black male teacher like you because they don't see. I'm like, do your school really, really want to have me in your school? Because I'm telling you, by the time I get done with day 175 at that school, they will be throwing potatoes at my head, apples at my head, because I will shake up some stuff because I don't believe in sugarcoating things in the
Mm-hmm.
workplace. Now, am I mean? No, but I mean business when it comes to children, and I think that's where a lot of people get off. Um, and going back to like the Black Lives Matter movement, yeah, let me calm down. Yes, our lives does matter, and for them to think that we are less than them really baffles me. And I'm trying not to get emotional because every year around my birthday, which is next month, I think about Trayvon Martin. Ooh, I really do think about Trayvon Martin because we're the same age. That could have easily been me. That could have easily been you. That could have easily been my brother who looks totally different. Like he's darker than I am. You know, that definitely could have been him. Trayvon Martin and I are the same age, born in the same year, the same month. We're born 2 weeks apart. And so every year I try to celebrate my birthday to the fullest because he's not here to celebrate his birthday. And people, granted, say, dang, you're so thoughtful. Yes, because that literally could have been me, shot dead by someone just because of a law that says stand your ground. Stand what ground? I'm telling you right now, if this is not the old days. And I just posted this or said this in a comment on Facebook to one of my colleagues, old colleagues in Oklahoma. This is not the old days. Because if somebody in Texas try me, I don't pack lightly. And I know this is live, but try me if you want to. They're going to be carrying you in the body bag because it's going to be you versus me. It's going to be you because I'm not going out without a fight. So when I go out into public and there's people that don't look like me, or if I go in settings, I always have this serious look on my face until I get the feel of the room or get the feel of the environment. I'm not playing with these people. This is not the old days. I'm not my grandparents. I'm not my mom and them. I'm a fire back. And yes, I'm a professional, but professionals also have a life outside of their job. I'm not getting paid right now by GCS to do this. I'm not getting paid after 5 o'clock. Granted, I'm a salary employee, but still, they don't run me. So I say if somebody approached me with some racism crap, good luck. As the man on Taken said, good luck. Good luck. Because it's not going to be nice, okay? I'm a real nice person. I'm a genuine and giving person. But don't try me because I don't pack lightly. So
Yes.
beware, people. Beware.
Yes.
Beware.
Yes.
And I always say that, and my mom generally teased me. She said, you're going to need security when you become a superintendent because you're going to shake up some stuff. Absolutely. And you know who my security is? My village, my community. So, yeah, I have people, don't get it twisted now, that'll take some charges for me. I don't even have to do nothing. They'll do it for me. So I'm thankful for people. I'm forever grateful for people, and especially my village and my community, for all that they do. And, you know, that's why I'm here. You know, I'm not afraid to step outside of, you know, my comfort zone and move someplace, you know. Hey, I may look up. I might be in California next year. Who knows? You know, who knows? But I have full support of people, so I'm thankful.
Yes. 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 Now, we are both Black male, and I really think I really think about this a lot when I go outside, especially when I come back from work. Someone could be like watching me, recording me of what I am doing, which is I'm just going back home. I'm just walking. I have on my coat and everything on, and they will see me as I'm doing something wrong. And that's the problem with a lot of police officers. They see us as thugs, as criminals, as we are doing something wrong, bad. We can't even jog down the street or even run or possibly walk. If we do all those things, those are bad towards us, and they see us as a threat. We are doing something wrong. You should not be doing that. And they will record us. They will pull the trigger, which makes no sense. And they don't want to hear our side of the story. They want to hear somebody else, but not ours, which is totally insane. So why do you think police officers are seeing us as a threat, all of us? Because not all Black people are bad. Not all, but they see us as that. So why do you think that?
That is a great question, and honestly, I don't have the answer to that. But my guess would be it's because Black men have always been dominate humans. You know, we've been the people, especially in the fields. You know, we have always been dominant when it comes to the white man. I always think that white men are jealous, and I was going to say something inappropriate, but I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm anybody knows me, I'm very a real person. I believe in being hot, humble, open, and transparent. That's what the acronyms I use for those. And my former pastor in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Pastor Todd, shout out to him, used to say that all the time during service. This is a humble, open, and transparent church. But nevertheless, I think that police officers, especially white men, are intimidated because we're dominant. We're like strong. We maybe, if you know the history behind slavery, they typically work the black man in the field. He wasn't the black man was never educated in the mind, but he was always strong with moving things, doing the work. But mentally, he was not prepared to like argue like intellectual. So only thing black men know is violence, in my personal opinion. We don't teach our black boys in schools how to deal with their frustration and anger. So when they get out on the streets, then the first thing they do is lash out. I mean, lash out. And I know that because the first thing, if a police pull me over, I'm going off. What you stop me for? What's up? That's my first instinct. What's up? I don't even say greetings. It's nothing for me. It's what's up. Why did you stop me? Like, what's your intake of pulling me over? I'll always say that, but black men are dominant individuals, and I think that white male police officers are afraid. And I give you an example. When I first moved to Oklahoma, Tulsa, Terrence Crutcher was the guy who got killed by the officer Betty Shelby. And when I tell you Tulsa was a mess that year when that happened, and you could hear the helicopter police officer saying, he looks like a bad guy. What the hell does that mean? Just because he's black and he's buff, he's a bad guy? Now, granted, his sister is my complexion, but he's dark like your complexion, my brother's complexion. I was tore up because that could have been my brother. My brother's darker than I am. So my brother, I'm not sure, I can't speak for him, but I'm not sure if he get harassed by a police officer. But in our community, the police officers don't like my brother. They don't like my brother. And we barely like going home to our community because we feel like we're a target for the police, and they're always watching us. They're always watching us. There was this one SR officer, when I was in school, he always used to mess with me and my brother, well, mainly my brother. But just because, I think it's the complexity of people's skin that scares, the white people. I'm gonna put it out there. I think it's just the darker our skin, but we're the most genuine, kind people. Like we're giving. We're so forgiving, for all the shit that they do to us. I mean, I try not to talk about race because I get frustrated, I get angry, and I should get angry, and you should too. And anybody else that's watching this that is black, you should get angry because this is 2020 has taught us that we have taken so much bullcrap decade after decade, year after year, month after month. We've been robbed. The white people have come over here and stole land, and they think that they own it. You don't own a doggone thing, but what you have in your possession, which is your house, your car, your clothes, and all of that. Now, other buildings, this right here, you don't own nothing up in here because I work just like you work, okay? But yeah, I mean, the race thing is really, I'm learning to like be more specific when I talk about race, but it's really heartbreaking to talk about it. It really is.
Yes, it really is. And I'm about sick of this. I don't know what has our country come to. I really don't understand. I don't really understand of why we can't all come together. And I watch the Ellen DeGeneres show every single day, and In every episode, at the end, she says, be kind to one another. Why can't we do that toward each other? Be there for each other, love each other as human beings. We want to tear down each other and do all this to other humans. This is not right. This is not America. This is not. It is really sickening. And I don't know if we will ever come to a place to that, seriously. But right now, we are not. And what really happened this week, which I still can't believe that happened, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I want to ask you this here. What happened on Wednesday? How did you open up the conversation to your students the very next day of talking about this?
That is a great question. And only one out of 27 students at the time understood what was going on. And I even opened up the conversation for parents, making it a safe space. But they're really so, what the old folks say, wet behind the ears. Like, they really don't know what's going on. I don't know if parents are not having these conversations with their children. But as a future parent, I plan to have children someday. I want 4. That number may change. But I believe in teaching children about real world issues, real world events that are happening. Like, my students don't know about 9/11. Granted, I was in the first grade when 9/11 took place. I remember where I was. I was on the carpet in the first grade classroom, But nevertheless, it was so dry, I took the whole reading block, because I teach 3 reading blocks. I teach Group A, Group B, Group C. So I teach 3 groups of reading. And I divided up according to the reading level. But only one student, and he's, I shouldn't say this, but he's my favorite student. So sweet. Love him. He knew what was going on. And his take was, it was his grandma's birthday. She lived in D.C. and she was upset because of that happened, He's a mixed child, dad black, mom's white, very upset that happened. She said, my grandma was upset. Well, I said, well, how are you feeling? He said, well, I'm all right. I'm just disappointed that my grandma didn't get to enjoy her birthday, because I guess apparently the mayor of D.C. put them into some type of lockdown. That's what I was guessing. He didn't get into all that, but he was so adamant about telling about how he was feeling. But my other students, I'm just like, friends, y'all parents are not, teaching you or talking to you about, what happened. And parents are just sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting on the parents to jump in the conversation, keep it friendly. Keep it friendly, keep it kid friendly, because we have other students on here. I have white students, I have Hispanic students, I have black students, I have all nationality of students on, but no one engaged in a single conversation, in which that's okay. I gave them an opportunity to engage in the conversation. I gave them an opportunity. They didn't have to, but I was thankful for my student. I'm not going to say his name for safety purposes, but he spoke up, and his dad was sitting right there. I'm like, Caleb, I kept apologizing to them. And I also let them know that they give me hope for a better future. What they see now going on, it may change for them. That is my hope. And I hope that is the hope for every educator that is on this live, or whoever view and listen to this. I hope that is their expectations and views as well, when it comes to children moving forward in the future. That it will be a brighter future. It will be a safe future for Black and brown children, because it's unsafe for them right now. They're so far behind their international peers. Like, again, I stated earlier in our conversation that China, Dubai, Finland, Japan, they all are ahead of us in math and science, ELA, English language arts. They're so far ahead of us. And it's sad that, the Chinese are learning English faster than we could teach it over here. It's very sad. So that's my expectation and hope for the future for my students. And any future student that I continue to educate in the future.
Yes, yes. And students across the world, they see what's going on. They really do. And they want to start talking about this. They really do. They see everything, you guys. So pay attention to your students, educators, pay attention to your students because they want to talk about these issues with you guys. So pay attention, you guys, to your students, really do, to hear, their opinions of what they think is going around in the world. So my next
It
question,
will. I'm gonna add to that. It also starts at home as well. Like,
yes,
because some parents don't want educators talking to their students about real life events. But I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be in the history books. When
mm-hmm,
my third graders, I don't know when the next book will be written. But Lord, I pray before they graduate high school that a history book will be rewritten and it will be told correctly. Okay, correctly. So they're in third grade. So when they get to about eighth grade, ninth grade, freshman year in high school, I hope that they will look back and say, "Hey, I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Taylor try to talk to us about this, but we didn't know because the parents, I I kid you not, I blame parents for some things. Parents, you have to take heed to things that are going on. I
mm-hmm,
understand everyone is, working and trying to provide, but you have to balance. You have to find that work-life balance. You have to balance. And one thing I cannot stand is for a parent to like go against their child.
mm-hmm.
I'm all for children. Anybody will tell you that I'm all for children. I love children. If you harm a child, I got something towards you. Like, I really, really, really do not like when people mistreat children. Do I
Mm-hmm.
think children should be disciplined? Absolutely. But it needs to be stern and firm.
Yes,
When you discipline children, as well as educating them, being hard on
mm,
them, having high expectations. I tweeted this
right,
the other day. I will never lower my expectations for any child that I come in contact with. Never will lower my expectation. And I hope that is everyone who work with children or work in the vicinity of children, expectations as well.
right.
So yeah,
I,
parents, you have to hold yourself accountable as well if you're going to hold a teacher or any educator or school leader accountable. You have to first hold yourself accountable when it comes to educating your child. And if you don't know how to educate your child, learn them. Learn them. You learn everything else.
mm-hmm.
You get on Facebook. You type statuses. So pay more attention to your child and train them, groom them. For it to be successful. And if you don't know, ask. I have people ask me all the time, "Hey, what's the best advice?" I really can't give advice because I'm not a parent, but I am a parent. Like, if you get it, I am a parent because I have students, and then I have little cousins that I consider my kids. So I do. Um, I can't give advice, but I'm just like, to the extreme advice of parenting, I can't give that. I can give parenting a dog, but not a human of a child. So yeah, that's
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. So parents, hold yourself accountable because this is on you. This is on you, parents. So, what I have for you here, of course, we're both black male. And I asked every black male educator that I interview, what does this mean for them of being a black man in America today at this moment? So what does it mean for you of being a black man in America right now?
Well, as a black male in America, I feel really great. I feel like the world is like, when I walk into a room and I don't see anyone that look like me, I'm like, they're bowing down to me. So I feel great. Again, I told you I'm applying for a job at a private school here in Dallas, a director position, and I'm just like, man, I walk in with a nice mean suit on, a nice shoes, they gonna respect me, just
Yeah.
by the way I dress. So, and when I go out, I don't care if I'm running to the grocery store. I make sure I'm dressed up because I never know who I'm going to run into. But I feel like that I'm in, like, right now, I feel like I'm in the forefront. Like, everyone's watching me. And I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
everyone's going to go back and rewatch this video and the video prior to this, we having a disconnect. Um, I feel like I'm under a microscope. So I try to be professional at all costs, treat people with manners. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I feel like the world owes me, as a black man in
Yeah.
society. And I know that's selfish to say and spoiled to say, and privileged to say, but they do. We have been mistreated for so long. And let's not get into
Yes.
how they mistreat black women. I'm all
Yes.
for black women in power. I'm all for women in power. Granted, my two mentors are women, I'm all for that. But I just feel like being a black man in America, I feel like I'm the sugar honey iced tea. I feel like I'm it. I walk in the room, they're like,
Yeah.
oh dang, he look good and he educated and got wisdom. Child, listen, listen. I feel good. Nobody ever tries
Yes.
me, and I'm like, I hate for anybody to ever try me in any setting because I am going to flip a monkey. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
that goes for Karen. So Karens, beware. You don't want JDT to go in on you because, baby, my village coming. First, I ain't gotta do nothing. My village coming, so I'm just gonna be like, all right, just hold on,
Yeah.
because everywhere I go and everywhere I move, I know people. So I know people in high places, very high places. You may never know, but they on speed dial. So I feel really good being a black male in America. I really do. Do I feel safe? Mm, it depends. It depends. Like Wednesday, I did not feel safe at all. I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
be completely honest. I'm in Texas, in a red state where the governor think he runs everything. Um, Trump supporter, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not feel safe. You know, I did not feel safe on Wednesday. But yeah, I feel good as a black man in America. Yeah, I really do. I
Yes.
really do.
Yes.
And I hope that
Yes.
you feel the same way as well.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh yes, yes. I was just about to get into that. Yes, because I had a conversation, quite like a few weeks back with one of my good friends about what I was feeling, because I was feeling like, and you were probably gonna be shocked by this, like back then while I was having this conversation, I was feeling just all ucky, and I was just like pouring negative thoughts onto myself, like, why did God create me in the first place? Why did he chose me of being a black male instead of a white man? And I feel like dust. That's how I felt like then. But a good friend told me that no, you have got to stop pouring all this negative thoughts on you, because you are the most powerful black man that I know, and you need to believe that in yourself. And when I heard he said that, I was like, wow, people really do care about you and love you. So at this moment right now, I am proud of being a black man. I really am, because we are creative of what we do. We are powerful. We
Hmm.
are strong. We are all of this. So I am proud of being in my skin right now. I really am. I'm proud of being in this lovely skin here. Yes.
And I see a lot of you in myself when I was your age. How old are you again? I'm sorry.
I am 20 years old.
When I was 20, really 18. I mean, I had that drive too. Now my drive is like slowing down. Like I'll be 26 in like a month and a half from now. I'm just like, Lord, where did my energy go? Like, granted, I'm in grad school. I'm a full-time teacher. Like, I'm a real life adult. Like, I have a real life job. I have real life bills. Like, I have a dog that I take care of. Um, but I really do see a lot of you a lot of myself in you when I was your age. Granted, I'm not that much older, but 6 years ahead of you, that's a lot. I mean, I was in first grade when you was getting pushed out the womb. But yeah, I mean, I say stay encouraged because we all have been through that. I have been through a depressed state when I was granted when I was 21, and that's another story for another day. Very confidential, but I'm when I tell you my testimony come through, it's going to be phenomenal, and I think it will bless someone. But I had a moment when I moved to Oklahoma where I had to hit a desperate state of mind. Like I wanted to give up, throw in the towel. I was dating. I moved away. Yes, I have dated folks. Um, and it was just a lot. Weighing, I felt like it was a lot weighing on me. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
wanted to do so much, like, but I wanted to give up. So I have had those same thoughts, and I think you're not the only black male. We're not the only black males who have had those thoughts. Questioning like, God, why did you create me? But I never questioned God why He created me to be a black male. I never would want to be a white man. I don't want anything ever to be given to me, or I don't want to ever steal
Right.
anything from anyone. And that's what white men do. They're for greed.
Yeah.
I personally think that they're greed, and I can get into that. But black men, we are the most hardworking, strong individuals that I know personally. I love black men. I really
Right.
love us black men. I really do. I have a fond respect for my brothers. I really do. I really do. And
Yes.
I'm gonna save the dating thing for another conversation.
All right.
but
All right.
I'm gonna say something, But yes, yeah, I really do have a fond respect for us brothers and black males, especially black men that teach um, in urban school districts. I really have a fond respect. So that's why I shout out to Profound Gentlemen in Charlotte. Whoop, whoop.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you,
So
Shalia.
yes. So I want to ask you this before we end this here. You founded in 2018 the Black Teacher Loading Organization at North Carolina A&T State University in the College of Education. So why don't you tell us all about this here, this organization?
Yeah, so Black Teacher Loading is an organization that I created with one of my friends, Jessica, who is phenomenal. I love Jessica. We started this because we know that we looked at the data behind how many black educators that are um, in public schools in America. So for me, it was deeply personal. I was When I took courses at A&T, I was basically the only male in my education courses. So I had to like live up to like, oh, let me be pushed by all of these girls. Like I love my classmates at A&T, love them. Shout out to A&T, Aggie Pride, the College of Education, Partner Hall, all of my professors. I love them at A&T. But no, I started Black Teacher Loading because there was, we in the vicinity of UNCG, Greensboro College, if you know the area of Greensboro. And so there weren't a lot of black educators coming out of our program. So I wanted to make it was really a movement, not like an organization. It was like a movement that we started.
Okay.
Started getting our chancellor involved, Gifford County Superintendent, Dr. Contreras, and her team, trying to advocate ourselves, like, hey, we are here. You need to hire us. But our program was kind of difficult to get through because in order for us to graduate from the education program at A&T, you have to pass the practice 2. I'm gonna say that again. You have to pass the practice 2 exam to be a licensed educator or to matriculate throughout the education program. Meanwhile, at Greensboro College or UNCG, their education students, they didn't have to pass the practice. That wasn't one of their requirements. But if they could graduate with their degree saying elementary education versus like me and my peers, we had to go a different route to go into education. So they could graduate at UNCG with their degree saying elementary education, graduate with their degree saying elementary education, but they would go into a school district or a school system being paid as a sub. So versus us, our professors wanted us to be prepared and fully prepared, like going out with our certification and with our degree that said, Jacques D. Taylor, elementary education, Bachelor of Science in elementary education, versus them, they still had another step to take in order to get like the teachers paid in North Carolina or anywhere in the country. So that's why we started that movement. So to be recognized, it was really fun. It didn't last long. We all still keep in contact through our group me. And we actually did not a TikTok. What is it that they done before? The Don't Rush Challenge. We did that, but we never posted it, which I need to send a message in the group me like, hey y'all, we need to post it. We never posted it. So yeah, that's the reason why we started Black Teacher Loading. And it was great. It was a great turnout. Like it really was. Our professors was fully involved. We had people that from other, departments on college campus supporting us. They always have a fond respect for education majors. I found, even though they always say y'all don't get paid much, that was a joke on campus. Teachers don't get paid much, so that's why I'm not in it for that. And now I get it. I totally get it, but I'm not in it for the money. I'm thankful for people. I'm thankful for people. Bless me daily. When I moved here to Dallas, I had people blessing me with money. Before I got my first teacher paycheck, and I'm forever grateful for people. I really am. I really am. But yeah, that's why we started Black Teacher Loading Movement.
Right, great. So, what a great conversation, a good chat that we had on.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. Seriously, I really could not wait to chat with you this week, and I know so with you as well. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on, and I'm always here and available if you need anything. Reach out for advice, and so is your friends that your co-founders of your podcast. Reach out to them. They can reach out to me as well. And anybody, if you want me to interview on your podcast or anything, sit down with me. My contact is Director JDT on Twitter and on Instagram. You can look me up on Facebook. I'm not I'm very open. So yeah, just reach out if you need anything. And that goes for anybody on this live or who have watched or will go back and watch this video or listen to it, because you do put it on Apple Podcasts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Once we are finished with this will be uploaded tomorrow everywhere on podcast platform, and also to watch onto my YouTube channel. So
Okay.
yes.
And I feel bad that I cursed, but I mean, hey,
Oh, you're
it is
fine.
what it.
You
Look,
are
it is
totally
what it
fine.
is.
You are totally
I
fine. Seriously.
I always tell my educational mentors, I am not the person. I need to be polished a little bit more. Poquito in Spanish, small. I need to be polished a little bit more, but nowadays you have to get out of line, to speak your truth. I'm
Exactly.
not a person, and I don't come from that area where we're quiet. We just sit there. No, no,
Yeah.
ma'am, no, sir, no ham, no turkey, Miss Shirley, none of that. But yeah, I
Yes.
don't believe in being silent. I believe in speaking the
No.
truth. And people say, well, you can't tell too much truth. The devil is a lie. The people need to hear the truth. They need
Exactly.
to hear it. So I'm
Ex-
thankful for you having me, and being open to having me. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate
yes.
that.
Yes, anytime, and thank you for speaking your truth. Seriously,
Yeah.
absolutely. You could say whatever you want to say, what is on your heart. You speak the truth out. So, yes, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. And I hope you have a great weekend and Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. Happy New Year to you and to everyone as well. And I will see you guys back next week live on IG Live. So, take care.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye bye.